What if the reason you feel like a low-value man isn't because you're actually low value, but because you've been trained to believe you are? And what if the very content telling you how to level up is secretly designed to keep you stuck? Today, we're going to separate psychology from propaganda. We'll look at what's real, what's manipulation, and how you can actually rebuild your confidence from the ground up without becoming bitter or resentful. And make sure you stay until the end, because the solution is probably not what you think it is. Let's start with something a little uncomfortable. The whole idea of alpha and beta males. It didn't come from human psychology. It came from a flawed study on wolves held in captivity. And even the scientist who first published it later came out and said his findings were widely misunderstood and didn't apply to wolves in their natural habitat, let alone humans. Healthy social systems, whether for wolves or for us, aren't built on rigid, simplistic dominance hierarchies. So why is this high-value versus low-value mindset absolutely exploding online? Because it does something incredibly powerful. It validates male pain. Think about it. If a man says, dating is really hard, or I feel rejected all the time, or I just feel invisible to women, what often happens? He gets told to stop complaining. He hears things like, you're privileged, or other people have it way worse. And what does that response create? It creates shame. It makes him feel like his struggles aren't legitimate. But then, he stumbles upon red pill content, and that content says, you're right, it is hard. The reason you're struggling is because you're seen as low value. But don't worry, here's a step-by-step guide on how to fix it. And suddenly, for the very first time, he feels understood. The pain he's been feeling is finally acknowledged. Even if the message itself is harsh, the validation it provides is incredibly powerful. He feels seen. Here's what most people, and even most men caught in this trap, don't understand about the psychology of it all. When you repeatedly feel rejected, especially on dating apps, your brain doesn't process it logically. It processes it emotionally. It's a gut punch, over and over again. Imagine getting rejected, ignored, or ghosted 500 times in the span of just a few months. Your brain was never designed to handle that sheer volume of social rejection. That constant high-frequency rejection creates a toxic cocktail of shame, crippling self-doubt, and what psychologists call cognitive distortion. Your thinking literally gets warped. You start to genuinely believe, okay, there must be two types of men in this world, high value and low value, and I am clearly at the bottom of the barrel. But let's look at what's actually happening behind the scenes. On many modern dating apps, the user ratios are extremely skewed. We're talking 10 men for every 1 woman in some age groups and locations. Beyond that, a significant number of users aren't even on the app to date. They're there for a quick ego boost, for validation, or just to kill time. So that rejection you're feeling, it's not always a personal verdict on your worth. It's often a statistical and logistical inevitability of the platform you're using. But your brain doesn't know that. All it feels is the sting of rejection, and it internalizes that feeling as unworthiness. Now, here's the twist, and it's why this content is so sticky. Some of the advice actually works. You'll hear things like, go to the gym, dress better, learn to set boundaries, build discipline, maybe even go to therapy. All of those things are genuinely positive actions. And what do they all increase? They increase your confidence. And confidence is universally attractive. But it's not because it makes you alpha. It's attractive because it systematically reduces and replaces internalized shame. The real enemy here isn't being low value. The real enemy is the deep-seated shame that's been programmed into you. And this is where it gets dangerous. This is the algorithm trap. Once you watch one video about being a low-value man, the algorithm takes note. It sees you engaged, so it feeds you another one, and another, and another. Why? Because shame is an incredibly engaging emotion. The worse you feel about yourself, the longer you stay on the platform watching content that promises a solution. The longer you watch, the more ads you see, the more insecure you feel, the more likely you are to buy the courses, the supplements, the coaching programs being sold to you. Think about the business model. If I can convince you that you are fundamentally broken, I can then sell you the cure. That's not self-improvement. That's emotional marketing, and it preys on your deepest insecurities. It keeps you in a perpetual state of feeling not good enough, so you keep coming back for the next fix. So, how do you actually stop feeling low value? The answer isn't to chase the illusion of becoming high value. The answer is to break the psychological loop of shame. And here's how you do it. First, build confidence, but do it without the self-hatred. Improve yourself because you respect yourself enough to invest in your own well-being, not because you hate the person you see in the mirror. Exercise. Upgrade your style. Learn new social skills. And yes, go to therapy if you need it. But the motivation matters. Do it from a place of self-respect, not from a place of shame. The goal is to feel good, not to punish yourself for not being good enough. Second, you need to actively reduce your consumption of shame-based content. After you watch an hour of this type of content, do a gut check. Ask yourself, do I feel genuinely empowered, clear-headed, and optimistic? Or do I feel angry, resentful, and inferior? If the content primarily fuels outrage and a sense of victimhood, unsubscribe, hit not interested. Your confidence will grow in an environment of clarity and positivity, not in a swamp of outrage. Third, and this might be the most important practical step, take a break from dating apps. These apps are designed to be addictive, and they act as a massive magnifying glass for rejection. They compress what might be years of social rejection in the real world into a few brutal months. This is an unnatural and psychologically damaging experience. Instead, focus on meeting people in real-life spaces. Join hobby groups, volunteer for a cause you care about, take a class, get involved in local community events, and build your social circle. Yes, it's slower. Yes, it takes more effort. But it's infinitely healthier for your mind. It allows you to be seen as a whole person, not just a profile picture to be swiped away. Here's the final truth. You are not low value. You are likely overexposed to rejection, underexposed to genuine validation, and stuck in a vicious shame loop that is being amplified and monetized by algorithms. And shame is like a funhouse mirror. It makes everything look distorted and much worse than it actually is. The moment you stop trying to climb some imaginary ladder to become high value and instead focus on becoming a stable, grounded, and confident man who respects himself, everything changes. You stop competing in a rigged game and you start connecting with the world and the people around you in an authentic way. And that, right there, is when things truly begin to get better. Thanks for watching. If this resonated with you, consider subscribing for more content that focuses on real confidence, not manufactured outrage. See you in the next one.